Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome to the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. Presented by Liuna, Labor's Local 663, who remind us, hey, let's drive safely in those work zones. Those folks want to go home to their families as well. Well, you know what day it is? It's Wednesday, and it's time for Where Are They Now Wednesday with Playing on Sports. Kent Mueller, you see his email address at the bottom of the screen. Feel free to email him at any time. This is episode 27. And just a reminder, you're watching the original Where Are They Now Wednesday. Don't be fooled by the Johnny-come-latelys or some other imposter. Playing on Sports and the Missouri Sports Network are your sources for what Missouri high school athletes do when they get to the national stage of the NCAA and what they're currently doing in high school. No one has more information for you than we do. We really appreciate your attention and loyalty. And hey, do me a favor. Go to our YouTube page and subscribe. Go to Facebook and like us on Facebook, and then you'll be aware every time we go live, because we want you to have the information. Are you ready? Well, that's good, because Kent's done your and my homework for us. And Kent, before we talk about this week, why don't you kind of review for us what went on last week?
Sure, I will, Guy. Last week, we reviewed the 120 Missouri volleyball athletes who compete in Division I. As I noted, that is an outstanding group with 15 local athletes on the rosters of the top 10 teams in the country. And don't forget, it's hard to get that many on that few of rosters because volleyball is such a small roster sport. We'll have more to say about volleyball as the season goes on. But before we move on, I want to give a shout out to the Lafayette volleyball team. Sports Illustrated has Coach Zach Young's Lancers ranked 25th in the nation among the country's almost 120,000 high schools. That is elite company. And this week, we will look at football, and there's a lot to see. We will be reviewing the FBS, FCS, and Divisions 2 and 3. We will look at those who are running the ball along with those passing and receiving, and who we will be looking at the kicking game, both field goal kickers and punters. Who are they? Where are they? And what they are doing now. You will find out right after these important messages.
In the heart of Springfield on historic Walnut Street, just blocks away from the Missouri State campus, Hammons Field, Great Southern Arena, and downtown Springfield. The Walnut Street Inn features newly remodeled rooms, breakfast served daily, and a friendly, accommodating staff. The Walnut Street Inn is also a great venue for private events. Book your stay or get more information at walnutstreetinn.com or call 417-864-6346.
Imagine a bank that goes where you go, creating seamless solutions for every step in your financial journey, allowing you to manage your money the way you want to, with a banking relationship that makes every day extraordinary. Imagine a world full of possibilities, always within reach. Central Bank. We do banking better.
The innocence of youth. Is there anything any better? But soon they'll be in high school and facing all the same challenges you faced. How to make friends, how to fit in, how to be cool. We want our children to have everything they'll need to live fulfilling and productive lives. Make sure the kids in your family are among the more than 290,000 participants here in Missouri who take part in high school sports or activities.
Welcome back, everyone. Are you ready for some football? Missourians are no strangers to the NCAA. There are 1,167 of our local athletes who are on an NCAA roster. And of those who pass, carry the ball, receive the ball, or kick, there are 184 in the FBS, 192 in the FCS, 579 in Division II, and 172 in Division III. Many tend to look past Division III, and part of that is because there are only 4 of them in Missouri, with only one of those outside of St. Louis. But don't look past those schools. I have firsthand experience. One of my two sons played Division III football. You can see right here on my shirt. Denison University is in Granville, Ohio. Oh, Denison's also on my coffee cup. It was a wonderful 4-year experience for Charlie playing the game he loves. That was a decade ago, but currently at Denison from Pembroke Hill, there is Ben Perrin. In 6 games, he has 16 tackles, 6.5 of those for losses, and 1.5 sacks. Ben was named the North Coast Athletic Conference Defensive Player of the Week. He is another athlete playing the game he loves in Division III. Now back to athletes from all across the state in every position with full acknowledgement and kudos to the offensive linemen and defensive players. We will focus on the quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, and kickers. Why? Only because there is more data to discuss. Before we finish with the fall sports season, though, we will address every position. Now let's get on with the running backs. There are 148 Missouri athletes running the ball in the NCAA. 8 of them lead their team in rushing yards per game. We'll start out with Brandon Hall. He's a senior out of North Kansas City. He plays Division II ball at Missouri Western State, which is in the Mid-America Intercollegiate Athletic Association. Brandon is averaging 100 yards per game, which leads his conference. For 5 touchdowns and is averaging 8.4 yards per carry. Those yards per carry is the second most in both the conference and second longest so far in the MIAA. Also leading his team in rushing yards per game is Jaden Mitchell. He's a graduate student out of Parkway Central, and he plays Division II ball at Upper Iowa University, which is in the Great Lakes Valley Conference. Jaden, who started his collegiate career at McKendree University, is averaging 83.57 yards per game, the 6th most in his conference, while his 6 rushing touchdowns are the 4th most. When Upper Iowa defeated Quincy 29-27, Jaden racked up 169 yards and scored 3 touchdowns to be named the Great Lakes Valley Conference Offensive Player of the Week. And who leads the 2-time defending FCS champion in rushing? That would be Amar Johnson. He is a senior out of Chaminade. He plays FCS ball at South Dakota State, which is in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. South Dakota State is making a run for its 3rd consecutive national title, and Amar is a big reason why. He is averaging 6.5 yards per carry on his way to 80 yards per game. That is the 4th most in the conference. In the FBS, number 12 ranked Notre Dame is powered on the ground by Jeremiah Love. He's a sophomore out of Chaminade, and he's playing at Notre Dame, which is an independent in football. As a sophomore, Jeremiah has taken over the Fighting Irish ground game with a team-leading 71 rushing yards per game. He is averaging 6.8 yards per carry, and only one other on our Missouri leaderboard has more than 6 rushing touchdowns. Jeremiah was the Missouri Gatorade Football Player of the Year 2 years ago, just as his teammate was last year. Aeneas Williams out of Hannibal was last year's Gator and has gotten into 5 games as a freshman and has rushed 9 times for 64 yards and a touchdown. The question is, will he sit the rest of the year to preserve a year of eligibility? Time will tell, and we will be watching. A 5th Missouri leading his team in rushing is A.J. Harris. He's a sophomore out of Lutheran St. Charles. He's playing Division II ball at Missouri S&T, which is in the Great Lakes Valley Conference. A.J. has been the workhorse for the Miners with his 102 carries so far this season, the 2nd most on our leaderboard. That has resulted in 63 yards per carry per game and 6 touchdowns, which ties him with Jeremiah Love of Notre Dame on our leaderboard. Who is a freshman from Missouri gaining the most rushing yards per game? That would be Luke Gall. He's a freshman out of Carthage, playing his Division II ball at Arkansas Tech University, which is in the Great American Conference. Just less than a year out of Carthage, Luke is gaining over 50 rushing yards per game for the Arkansas Tech Wonder Boy. God, I have always wondered how the men's teams at Arkansas Tech got to be known as the Wonder Boys. This was a good time for me to find out. They were known as the Aggies up until 1919. And by the way, the school wasn't Arkansas Tech at the time either. It was an agricultural high school named the Second District Agricultural School Aggies, and they beat Jonesboro 14-0. A freshman named John Tucker scored both touchdowns and both extra points. The account of the game in the next morning's newspaper referred to Tucker and his teammates as Wonder Boys. The name has stuck despite movements to make a change as recently as 2007.
Well, if they're the Wonder Boys, what do they call the women's team?
Well, they're not the Wonder Boys, and it goes well beyond what past the history of Title IX 50 years ago, because they were playing women's basketball way back when. And I can't tell you the why, but I can tell you the what. After the men became the Wonder Boys in 1919, the women became the Wonderettes in 1927. That lasted until 1951 when they became the Wonder Ladies. But in 1952, they switched to be the Wonder Girls. And that is where they were until 1967 when they went back to being the Wonder Ladies. And then in 1975, the females of the student body voted to change it to the Golden Sun, which is how they compete today. And I don't know why they selected the Golden Sun. If anyone out there knows, would you please email me at plainonsports.com? Oh, and remember, who got all that started? John Tucker, the original Wonder Boy. Well, before the transfer portal was even dreamed about, he transferred from Arkansas Tech to the University of Alabama, where he helped them defeat Washington State in the 1931 Rose Bowl. Then he went back home and eventually became the athletic director at Arkansas Tech. Now, Guy, how about letting everyone know about those two football shows on the Missouri Sports Network that are broadcast every Friday night?
Yeah, it's something I enjoy. We do a high school game day Friday afternoons at 5 o'clock, where we kind of put together the interviews, athletes of the week from throughout the week, teams of the week as well. And then Friday night, probably the most challenging show is because we actually go live for an hour and a half. We cover every high school football game in the state of Missouri. We interview coaches throughout the evening, update scores, talk a little bit about districts, district standings. And here's where, we're going into week 8. There's just 2 more regular season games this season. So those district standings become more and more important as you're looking to see if you can get a home game, going into that first round of districts, or maybe you get a home game throughout districts as long as you continue to win. Provided, a lot of people are going to that Mission website at night on Friday nights, and it kind of bogged down on us a little bit this past Friday, but hopefully they've got that rectified. But I really enjoy it, and I hope everybody tunes in.
Well, I enjoy that first show, and then I really like being part of that second show. Nobody gets to see me, but I'm in the green room along with Darren Archer, and we're going through scores just as fast as we can, getting them in front of Guy so he can let everybody know who has won what game throughout the state. And as Guy said, every school in the entire state. Guy, what part of those shows do you like best?
Well, I enjoy both of them. The scoreboard show's more challenging because it's live, number one. It's very time sensitive with regards to the scores as people are getting in their cars. And I know, I can see how many people are tuning in. I get messages, on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, people updating things. But I enjoy the high school game day because that's a compilation of interviews that I've done throughout the week with people I've heard their names. I know who so-and-so is. I mean, we talked about Luke Gall a little bit earlier. He was a young man at Carthage that was a very good, very talented running back. He was one of our athletes of the week. I hear those names all the time, and to be able to put a face with the name and hear a voice and kind of get to connect a little bit with the kids and the coaches, it's very cool for me to do. And the fact that coaches and athletic directors and parents allow me to interview their kids. That's refreshing, and it makes me feel good. So I enjoy both of them. There's one's got a lot of pressure. There's one that's a lot of fun. So we'll see.
Well, a lot of people enjoy those shows. Well, now let's take a look at the Missouri quarterbacks playing in the NCAA. Quarterbacks. There are 66 Missourian signal callers in the NCAA. 7 of those are in the FBS, 12 in the FCS, 42 in Division II, and 5 in Division III. 10 of those lead their team in passing yards per game. Out in front is Paxton DeLaurent. He's a senior out of Camdenton High. He plays FCS football at Southeast Missouri State, which is in the Ohio Valley Big South Conference. Paxton is passing for 298 yards per game. His 62% completion rate has led to 20 touchdown passes, the most on our leaderboard. A year ago, the Ohio Valley Conference and the Big South Conference combined their football offerings into the Big South OVC Conference. Paxton leads all quarterbacks in yards per game, touchdowns, completions, and attempts in that conference. His Redhawks are ranked 8th in the country in Division II by the American Football Coaches Association. His 6,563 career passing yards places him first in school history with a half season to go. And this 298 yards per game is currently the 5th most in the FCS nationally. Close behind Paxton is Chris Runke. He's a junior out of Platte County playing Division II ball at Northwest Missouri State, which is in the Mid-America Intercollegiate Athletics Association. Chris's 279 passing yards per game is the 9th most in all of Division II. He is completing almost 65% of his passes, 13 of them for a TD. His 1,955 passing yards so far this season is only 45 yards from 10th place on the Bearcat all-time single-season list. Also in the football championship series is Mecky Hagans. He's a redshirt junior out of Cardinal Ritter. He is playing at the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff, which is in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. He is throwing for 245 yards per game and has 11 touchdowns with only 2 interceptions. The 245 yards is the best in the Southwest Athletic Conference, along with his 1,712 passing yards. A football bowl series quarterback with a familiar last name is Brett Gabbert. He's a 6-year player out of Christian Brothers playing at Miami University of Ohio, which is in the Mid-American Conference. Brett is averaging 230 yards per game. He is completing 56% of his passes and has found the end zone 9 times. His passing yards per game is the best in the Mid-America Conference. And keeping this talk in the football bowl series for now is Brady Cook. He's a senior out of Chaminade, which is FBS, the University of Missouri, which is in the Southeastern Conference. Brady is averaging 225 passing yards per game for the number 19 ranked Tigers. He has 7 touchdown passes with only 1 interception and is completing nearly 65% of his passes, which is second on our Missouri leaderboard. And I want to point out a sophomore signal caller who is having an outstanding year. Dylan Hare, as I said, is a sophomore out of Blair Oaks playing Division II ball at Truman State University, which is in the Great Lakes Valley Conference. With his older brother, Nolan, now graduated, Dylan has taken over as the quarterback at Truman State. He is off to a fast start. He is connecting on 57% of his passes, good for 11 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions. He is now averaging 204 yards per game. Nolan, the older brother, finished 5th all-time at Truman State with his 6,416 career passing yards. The combination of brotherly support and competition will make the next 2.5 years fun. What Missouri freshman is gaining the most passing yards? That would be Sal Caldarella. He is a freshman out of Green Valley playing Division II ball at Southwest Baptist University, which is in the Great Lakes Valley Conference. Sal has completed 55% of his passes, 2 of them for a touchdown, on his way to averaging 79 passing yards per game. For every pass completion, there is a receiver. And Missouri has produced a lot of outstanding receivers. As of this week, 14 of them are leading their team in receiving yards per game. There is a total of 380 receivers in the NCAA who came out of Missouri high schools. 84 play FBS ball, 61 play FCS ball, while 189 and 46 compete in Division II and Division III, respectively. Leading the pack is Jalen Noel. He's a senior out of Park Hill High playing FBS ball at Iowa State University in the Big 12 Conference. Jalen is averaging over 18 yards per catch, which leads to his number 9 rated Cyclone leading and our Missouri scoreboard leaderboard leading 80 receiving yards per game. He has a long reception of 75 yards and has found pay dirt 3 times. When you add his 528 yards to his career total, Jalen is 7th on the all-time Iowa State leaderboard. Jonas Bennett is another senior getting it done. Jonas is a senior out of Odessa, playing Division II ball at Missouri Western University in the Mid-America Intercollegiate Athletics Association. Jonas has caught 43 balls, which is the most on our Missouri leaderboard. They have averaged over 13 yards and add up to 82 yards per game, second most on our list. This is after his junior year when he caught 59 passes for 803 yards. This puts him into the top 10 in both career receptions and receiving yards at Missouri Western. Third on our receiving list is also in Division II. It's Luke Matthews. He's out of Liberty North, and he's a junior, and he's playing at Northwest Missouri State, which is in the Mid-America Intercollegiate Athletics Association. Luke is averaging 80 yards per game. His 28 receptions have averaged 20 yards each. Helping that average is his long of 80 yards. That 80-yard catch ties Luke for the longest reception on our leaderboard with Jordan Kent, who is out of Jackson High and is now catching balls at Southwest Baptist. Darius Cooper, he's a senior out of Hazelwood West, playing FCS ball at Tarleton State University, which is in the Western Athletic Association. Darius caught 28 balls for 622 yards last year, even though he missed 4 games due to an injury. The year before, as a sophomore, he had 54 receptions for 1,063 yards. He is right on track this year, averaging 78 yards per game. His additional 546 yards this year continues to push him up higher on the school's all-time leaderboard. Kevin Coleman is a junior out of St. Mary's, and he plays FBS ball at Mississippi State University in the Southeastern Conference. Like Luke Matthews and Jordan Kent, Kevin has an 80-yard reception this year. That boosts his average catch to 12.4 yards and his yards per game to 74.5. Xavier Lloyd is a junior out of Blue Springs. He plays FCS ball at Illinois State University, which is in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. Xavier started his collegiate career at Kansas State and then transferred to Illinois State. He has found a home with the Cardinals with his team leading 67.7 receiving yards per game. He has 3 touchdowns and averages over 15 yards per reception. Jackson Overton is a redshirt freshman out of St. Dominic playing Division II ball at Truman State University, which is in the Great Lakes Valley Conference. Jackson is just getting started at Truman State, but he is already a favorite target of Dylan Hare. He is averaging almost 62 receiving yards per game. He has 24 receptions, of which 7 he has taken to the house. His longest catch of 65 yards helps his average of 15.5 yards per catch. The Missouri product who is catching balls for the number 1 team in the country is Ryan Wingo. The freshman out of St. Louis University High is playing for the Longhorns in the Southeastern Conference. Ryan has made the transition from a junior belle to a Longhorn. He is averaging just under 50 receiving yards per game. He has a long of 75 yards and averages 22.77 yards per catch, which is second in the SEC and 6th in the nation in the Football Bowl Series. Guy, tell everyone who you have been interviewing lately and where they can find those interviews.
Well, you can find them at the MissouriSportsNetwork.com, or you can go on our YouTube page at Missouri Sports Network or our Facebook page. and you get them. I've had the great privilege of interviewing head football coaches from Warsaw, Missouri, who were state ranked, undefeated, number one in their district. Liberty North, who's the defending Class 6 state champions. Lee Summit North, who got a big win last week. They'll be on that list. Nixa High School football coach and the Nixa High School volleyball coach. They're 27-2 on the season as they prepare for districts. We've had softball coaches from Blue Springs, from Marshfield. So we're approaching 3,000 interviews with high school kids, coaches, and administrators from around the state just on the Missouri Sports Network, and that's in 4 years. So we've had our work's been cut out for us, but I've enjoyed it. And as I mentioned earlier, just getting to put names, and faces together. You hear a lot about so-and-so had 10 touchdowns, so-and-so, and, you're reading off these names, Paxton Delarent, a former athlete of the week, Dylan Hare, a former athlete of the week out of Blair Oaks High School. Just had the privilege of being able to interview them. They're all right there, archived on our YouTube page at Missouri Sports Network. I encourage you to go subscribe and click on some of those interviews and get to see those kids. And then you can put faces with names.
Yes, and it's amazing how many times when I have someone I'm talking about on Where Are They Now Wednesday, a guy that you pop up and say, yes, I interviewed that guy or that lady. And so if people want a preview of what we do on Wednesdays in the future, all they have to do is watch your interviews, because there is a transition from your interviews directly into college. And it's amazing to watch over the years. Now, when the quarterbacks, running backs, and receivers come up short, you need a good field goal kicker. Missouri has 62 kickers in the NCAA, 10 in the FBS, 15 in the FCS, 31 in Division II, and 6 in Division III. Which of those 62 has made the most field goals so far this year? That'd be Blake Craig. He's a redshirt freshman out of Liberty North, and he's playing FBS ball at the University of Missouri in the Southeastern Conference. Through the first 6 games of his collegiate career, Blake is averaging 2.17 field goals per game. That is the second most in all of the football bowl series. He has made 13 of 18 attempts. He is 9 for 10 inside 40 yards and 3 for 4 from beyond 50 yards. His 56-yarder is the longest on our Missouri leaderboard. What a great start for the redshirt freshman. And graduate students can kick too. Caleb Berry is a graduate student, and he is out of Kirkwood playing Division II ball at McKendree University in the Great Lakes Valley Conference. Caleb is also 9 for 10 inside of 40 yards. His long is 40, and overall, he has hit 10 of 12 attempts. Nearly perfect is Mo Alwele. He's a sophomore out of Lincoln College Prep. He's playing Division II ball at Lincoln University in the Great Lakes Valley Conference. Mo has been called upon 9 times and has put it through the uprights 8 times. He has kicked a 50-yarder, and his only miss was from beyond that distance. So Mo is perfect 50 yards and closer. Almost as accurate as Drake Reese. He's a redshirt junior out of Cassville, playing Division II ball at Missouri Southern University in the Mid-America Intercollegiate Athletics Association. Drake has nailed 8 of 10 attempts so far this year. Perfect from 40 yards and under. Drake's long so far is 44 yards. Eli Ozick is a redshirt freshman out of Liberty. He is playing FCS ball at North Dakota State in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. Eli is in an interesting situation. North Dakota State has a regular field goal kicker, but when there is distance involved, they call upon Eli. He has only 4 attempts this year, but all 4 have been from beyond 50 yards. 2 of those 4, including a 50-yarder, have gone through the uprights. And when the quarterback, the running backs, and the receivers come up short, and it's still too far for the field goal kicker, you call upon the punter. Missouri has produced some of the best. There are 4 punting in the FBS, 5 in the FCS, 21 in Division II, and 4 in Division III. That makes for 34 punters in all. If your offense is struggling in a 1 5 start to the season, you need a good field goal kicker. As I noted, Lincoln University has that kicker in Mo Alwale, but that isn't enough. Who punts for Lincoln University? Why, that's Clayton Winkler. He's a senior out of California High. And as I said, he's playing his Division II ball at Lincoln University in the Great Lakes Valley Conference. And Clayton has the second most punts and the longest average punt on our leaderboard. His 37 boots have averaged 44.62 yards. That's 1,651 total yards. Clayton only has 4 touchbacks and has dropped 13 inside the 20-yard line, which certainly has held his average down. His longest punt went for 68 yards, which is one of 12 that went for over 50 yards. Owen Lawson is a junior out of Rockhurst. He is playing FCS ball at the University of Albany in New York State. That's in the Coastal Athletic Association. Owen is just behind Clayton with an average of 44.43 yards. He only has had 2 touchbacks and has dropped 5 inside the 20. His longest 74 yards is one of 12 that have gone for more than 50 yards. The longest punt, that would be by Grant Burkett. He's a senior out of Webb City, playing his FCS ball at Missouri State University in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. Grant's boot of 78 yards is the longest on our leaderboard. It is also the longest in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. That was one of 5 longer than 50 yards for Grant and increased his average punt to over 42 yards. Now, we have talked about the highlights of the best Missouri performers in NCAA football. But as I noted at the beginning, there are many more. There are 689 Missourians passing, running, catching, kicking, and punting the football throughout the NCAA. Where can you find those from your school or that rival you want to peek in on? There is only one place, and that is my Playing on Sports newsletter. The price is right because it is free. So there is no excuse for you. Simply just go to playingonsports@gmail.com and ask for a free, no obligation subscription, and you will have it pronto. So like I said, it's simple. So just how it's scrolling across the bottom of your screen. That's playingonsports@gmail.com. You will get all this plus much, much more on football and 10 other sports throughout the year.
Outstanding. Well, Kent, as always, I've enjoyed reading through the notes because I don't put this stuff together. This is all on Playing on Sports, Kent Mueller, and as always, enjoy it. Enjoy reading and look forward. After I've read it, I look forward to talking about it. So we appreciate that, all the hard work that you've done. And again, hey, sign up for that newsletter. Email Ken at playingonsports@gmail.com. You get it. It's free. I've done it. And that's how we got connected. And hey, as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart, and be here next Wednesday for Where Are They Now Wednesdays.